Yes, 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 yes. Good day. Good Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are. Welcome to another live cast. As we get the technology together here, we're hitting a few buttons, making a few adjustments. Just as in life, we have to be ready to make adjustments. Had a few technical things to clear up, but we're here live now. Much love to everyone. Let's get started. You're listening to the music, a selection from the Dr. B. Sirius Medicine Music Collective Special Edition. This track is available along with a whole package of 7 hours of amazing music at elevationtime.com. It is also a soundtrack for the book, What's Eating You? This track is called You, A-E-I-O-U. And this program is all about you. Yes. That groove is undeniable. Ooh, yes. We've got an amazing program for you today. I'd like to bring in our special guest and co-host, Dawn Osborne. Is that you, Dawn?
That's me. Yes.
Good day.
Greetings. Good day.
I woke up this day and realized how amazing it was to wake up and look around and to realize that life is so precious. And what's even more precious about life is being aware. So this show is about awareness so that we might make better choices and decisions and align ourselves with being, doing, and having. We call this program Be, Do, Have because I'm Dr. B and Dawn Osborne is Do. And our whole goal here is to help us all have more than we have and move towards our goals. How you doing, Dawn?
I am excellent this morning. This day, it's beautiful and sunny here in Los Angeles, and I'm just excited. I've taken in so much information. I just started my cleanse, and I'm in a beautiful space today, and happy to be here.
Wow, congratulations. Let's start off with finding out who's here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, please put it in the chat and let us know how you found out about this program, this live cast. If you've been here before, let us know who you are, where you're coming from. We're here to share. Let's all be loving and caring in the comments. And, this information is coming to you as educational service. And we are not a part of the AMA and the FBA and the FBI and the three-letter organizations. And we're not here to bash anybody. We're here to educate folks and so that we can choose a better path in life to reach, goals that we desire. So nothing we say here is coming from medical doctors or nurses, but we are professionals in the world of natural health. So call your friends and let them know that we're on now. And we're on most Saturdays here on this frequency, this vibration called YouTube. So, one of the most important things we can do in life is give ourselves permission. You know, in school, we used to have to get a permission slip, or you had to get permission from your parents to go out. What about giving ourselves permission?
Musical.
I think
Our
that
language is musical.
this,
The tone of our voice is musical.
I hear, you hear sounds in the back? Is that you doing something? You sampling something there, Don?
That was me.
You must have that new drum machine, that new sampling drum machine.
I don't have the new sampling drum machine, but I am absolutely waiting on my drum.
Okay. The new batches of drums are on the way for those who have been waiting on drums. And Don, yours is coming by a special carrier. So
Yes.
the manufacturer called me and says, Dr. B, this is what's happening. There's too many. It was too much. So we have to slow down production. We don't want to get to the point where we're rushing these things out and the quality gets low. So those of you who are interested in the medicine drum 432, there are the next batch is being created. The first batches sold out like crazy, like wildfire. So we'll talk about that a little later. But this thing about permission in our lives, we may have given up our autonomy and our choices and even our, the power of giving ourselves permission. Sometimes we've given that away to others. And I think it's a deep thing to talk about this just for a second, Dawn, too. What does it mean to give yourself permission? Do we really realize how powerful that is by opening our eyes in the morning and maybe bathing and making that part of our daily routine, giving ourselves permission to be our best selves? You want to tap in on that, Dawn?
Permission. First of all, you have to say yes. Yes to yourself, right? And we live in a society where permission is everything. When you think about the four agreements and following in the agreements of others, giving yourself permission directs your energy in the way that just says yes. Yes, I can. Yes, I'm present. I'm moving forward. Um, it goes into the indoctrination. We were taught that we had to have permission to speak, permission to exist. You know how our parents used to tell us, be seen and not heard? It's all about permission, right? Um, and so when you assume your personal power, you can give yourself permission for everything that you desire. Um, and then manifest. It's like turning on the manifestation switch. Permission is access to the manifestation switch. And it's bigger than manifestation, but that word is so commonly used. I think when you tell people you're giving yourself permission to turn on the manifestation switch, they actualize it.
Wait, now that's a bar there. Permission is, how did you say it? Permission to turn on the manifestation. How did you say that?
You give yourself permission to turn on the manifestation switch.
Say that again. Say it again.
Give yourself. All right, let's let it land. Okay.
Let it land.
We give ourselves permission to turn on the manifestation switch because we are natural manifestors. Our language manifests, it creates. So just like we create positive, we create negative, right? So let's continue with being able to consistently be in a state of manifestation. And in order to do that, you have to live in a perpetual place of positivity.
And permission.
In order to do it and permissions, right? Well, if you're going to continually have your permissions switch on, then you have to mind your language because you will manifest what you say. And we do that anyway. We're just not consistently conscious that everything I say I'm creating because we are conscious. We are co-creating everything that exists, right? So when you have those conversations and you are gossiping, you are continuing to create that cycle of negativity. And so if you speak, if you be, do, and what you be, do, have, right? So as you're speaking, you're creating, right? Being is the essence of being, doing is the action word, and having is the end result. So if you let that land, you're giving yourself permission as you be. Your words are the action, and you will have what you say, just like the genie rubbing the magic lamp, as we talked about last week.
Beautiful. So let's give ourselves permission. And, we have been, in the past, maybe indoctrinated or programmed to think that we had to ask for permission outside of ourselves. So today, let's go inside ourselves and give ourselves permission. And that's the same thing as allowing ourselves to be our best selves. So I remember, a couple years ago when I was speaking and I just kept saying, I allow. And it was coming through for the first time that that's a word that sometimes we don't use enough in when it has to do with us allowing ourselves to be our best selves. So it's the same thing as giving ourselves permission to be, do, and have the things that we like. Let's also ask for permission. And that's another thing to do, just, out of respect. A lot of times we're, as musicians and artists and teachers and singers and presenters at, who do lectures, we just start talking. It's best to ask for permission of the universe. Ask for permission for the people who are listening to see if they would like to receive this. So permission isn't just all of a sudden I got a huge ego and I'm telling you. No, permission is also asking if it's okay. And I'd like to say, I'd like to ask, is it okay that we share information that you may not have heard before or haven't thought of in the way that we're about to present it? Is that okay? Is it okay if we make this a little fun and a little entertaining instead of being so sterile and serious? Is it okay if we speak about some things that may agitate you? It may even make you a little upset when you learn some of the information we're about to share today. In fact, last night I had to stop studying because I said, I can't go to sleep with this on my head. let's revisit this in the morning because I was ready to snap. So we're going to cover some very controversial subjects today. So call your friends and let them know if they wanted to hear some of this kind of stuff. This is it, and we're going to move forward in a place of love. And this information that we're sharing is not meant to, we're going to do this in a way where it's loving, because a lot of times we start blaming and we start that blame game. Who did it and why they did it? Look what they did to us. That's why we're having this program, so you can begin to allow yourself and give yourself permission to do something different and learn something different and be something different. So that's why we share this information, not to bash anybody. And we're going to be dealing a lot with the book, What's Eating You, which is selling. I mean, we just had to order more books again because it's moving like crazy. And it's just so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for all of the support out there that all of you are giving the book and those who are writing, talking about the music. And we'd like to hear, you can actually go to marketing at elevationtime.com and let us know how you feel about the book or the music or any of the products that you're trying right now. So let's move forward, Dawn.
Yes, yes, and yes. And we have people from all over the country with us, and welcome, welcome, welcome. This is all I can say is yes, yes, yes. Let's do and let's have a wonderful time sharing information this morning. I will be reading the comments and trying to keep up with you. This is a very active group in the comments, and so I'm going to do my best. I am grateful to be able to keep up and respond as we go. We're going to be giving a lot of real powerful information, so I'm sure the chat will be busy.
Yes.
Yes, yes, and yes.
So
Our
we're
topic
going to
today is
Go ahead, Dawn. You got it. I'm not used to having a co-host. You know, it's usually just me giving myself permission. I gotta give myself permission to also, you know, have some and share more. So let's share. Go ahead.
Our topic today is doctor's orders. I was just going to bring us into the space and open the and turn the floor over to you, Dr. B, because we're talking about doctor's orders and where are they coming from? As Dr. B said, he was reading last night, studying, and I tell you, this topic blew my wig back. It's eye-opening. And so here we go.
Well, as I was being written by this book, did you hear the way I said that? As I was being written by this book, it came to me that I needed to share information about where our medical system is and where it could be going. I was in the book, I talk about how I was meeting with some clients who came in from Texas, and they needed they desired a consultation, and the husband, it was a husband and wife, the husband realizes that he left his pills in Texas. And I'm like, what pills? And they got really nervous, and the wife was upset. Oh my God, I can't believe you left your medicine. I said, well, what is this medicine? They says, it's for, I'm dealing with a special type of cancer, and I also have a heart condition. I was like, well, what does the medicine do? They said, well, I don't know, but the doctor said we've got to take it for the rest of our lives. And the guy says, yes, and it's really expensive. I says, well, how much does it cost? It was $10,000 a month. I said, how many medicines are we talking about? One medicine, one pill a day. I said, well, how big is the pill? I figured this is a huge pill. You got to take it and bite it like a pie. You know what I'm saying? Take slices of it. It's a tiny thing. I mean, it's one of the smallest. It's like almost like a micro dot or something. I says, well, what does it do? We don't know. And they became very agitated. And I said, well, let's just calm down. Let's relax, because you're in Atlanta and your medicine is in Texas. You don't have it. But the doctor said, if I don't take it, I could what? He says, I says, if you repeat that, then it becomes that.
Right.
So don't say whatever he said. Let's calm down. So that's when I said, let's have a little heaven on earth. And they said, well, what's heaven on earth? And I said, it's a product that we create here at Elevation that helps with the nervous system. When the nervous system is fragmented, when your nerves are all over the place, when the electrical potential in your nervous system is not firing, you become agitated, you become upset, you become dysregulated, and we need to regulate the nervous system. Can we try it? And they said, yes. So actually, they were so upset, I gave it to them in shot glasses. Dawn, about the shot glass. We go past the dropper. We gave them some shot glasses of that, and they calmed down. And after about 5 minutes, they both said, oh my God, this feels good. Dr. B, is this legal? Yeah, it's legal. They were just so mellow. And I said, now, have you guys ever heard about the Flexner Report? And they were like, what is that? So Dawn, let's just drop into the chapter. What chapter is that? That's chapter 9, is it? Yes, chapter 9. A small bittersweet bite of history and the Western medicine machine. That's chapter 9 in our book, What's Eating You? Break free from mental, physical, and energetic parasites. The journey from opposition to liberation. And this, what we're going to talk to today, hits home. How we became caught in a system and what that system is and how we could look at becoming free from that. So let's remove that. All right. Dawn, I can't hear you. I see your mouth moving.
Okay.
Okay.
So as we look at the chapter, you started with the story of the husband and wife that came in, and they were that you kind of covered that in its entirety. And as you told her not to blame the doctors. And then it goes into the Flexner Report. they hadn't heard of it. Um, so let's talk about the Flexner Report. I'm going to start on page 87, the second paragraph. In the early 1900s, the Carnegie Foundation commissioned Abraham Flexner to create a report about medical schools and hospitals. This was cloaked as a concern for the quality of healthcare education in the USA. The story goes that the Rockefeller and Cargill drug companies used this report to fund only those in the medical business who exclusively prescribed pharmaceutical drugs. Guess whose drugs? Historians say that this created an all-powerful political and medical coalition that suppressed natural remedies, treatments, and holistic medicines, many of which were highly effective. This created a dictatorship-type medical monopoly that vilified any and all natural healing methods, whether they were effective or not. The average person was forced to comply, became brainwashed, and became afraid of natural treatments. They surrendered their innate spirituality and lost their discernment and rationality. They say the Flexner Report was created and used to coerce and scare much of the world. They crafted written proof that this new monopoly was the best way to ensure quality health care. People who administered natural medicine and those who used it were often forced to hide out or jailed for practicing medicine without a license. Many natural healers and spiritual guides have been labeled nutcases, snake oil salesmen, witches, sorcerers, and demons. Lots of people have historically gone missing, been tortured, burned alive for exercising freedom, living naturally, and breaking religious and or corporate laws. According to history, a few greedy parasites virtually eliminated all independent medical schools, drugless doctors, hospitals, clinics, healing houses. Healing houses. We used to have healing houses. Wow. And natural health centers. They lobbied, lied, and made up laws and statistics that made it impossible for those who were not white and male even go to medical school. The report went so far as to suggest that Black people should only learn to work hygiene departments because they were unclean and had more germs and parasites than white people. Now that's low down and dirty. Because of racism, sexism, the Flexner sham blocked up to 50,000 or more Black potential doctors and women from practicing medicine. When the Black health community is being served by mostly doctors and nurses who don't look like them, the community exhibits more stress as a whole because of the history of mistrust and mistreatment. This causes stress on the community as a whole, whether Black or white, which decreases the chances of healing and thriving for all people. Black people live longer in areas with more doctors who look like them. It's very obvious that Flexner's racist report was designed to improve healthcare outcomes for white people only, while making drug companies filthy rich. Just imagine the advancements and innovations that could have been achieved worldwide if it had not been for global narcissism and greed. You can see how some uninformed people in the 1900s might have gone along with this shakedown, but medical racism and sexism were nasty diseases that affect all people everywhere, even to this day. Whew, that was a mouthful. We have a lot of comments just about healing houses and the fact that we're returning to the light, and that we have some certified professional homeopaths there, and they did shut down homeopathic universities in the US. Like, they just shut them down. And it's beautiful to see the number of doctors of color, whether they are Black, whether they are Hispanic, whether they are Indian, just doctors of color in general, right? But when I read this, it takes me to the fact that there's so much richness in who we are as people of color when it comes to our tribal and our chiefs and our medicine women and medicine men, and all of the richness that comes from us naturally that was virtually shut down. When you just read that, when I just read that paragraph that we were called witches and sorcerers and snake oil salesmen, and all we were doing is perpetuating or attempting to perpetuate the things that we know that work. If you can walk out into your yard and pick some bitter leaf and take it in the house and put it into your foods and feel the effects of it. Um, that's so powerful. So Dr. B, I read a lot. We um an awful lot. Um, and I think about the fact that how rare it is, um, how it's not the norm for me, a woman that is 59 years old, to have absolutely no prescribed medicines that I take on a daily basis. I look at my friends in the same age group, and they've got bottles of medicine lining their bathroom that have been prescribed to them that they say they religiously have to take. Or when my mother was diagnosed, I don't know, 30 years ago with diabetes, and I did everything the doctor said and did all of the carb counting and everything else. And they were like, Miss Osborne, you don't need this medicine anymore. She's like, oh, I need it because my mother has sugar and my grandmother had sugar. And if I stop taking the medicine, I'm going to be just like them. And then I'll end up having to do the insulin. So there's a programming that takes place in our minds about this medicine that is ingrained, societally ingrained.
What blew my mind was that this couple in my office were made or forced or allowed themselves to believe that this capsule, this pill, little white pill that costs $10,000 a month. And they were like, "Oh no, Dr. B, don't worry, because we do a copay, so we only pay $2,000 a month." And they were happy about that. This, I mean, I'm this. I get emotional about this because I remember my father was on some medicine that was $10,000 a month. This thing is about money. And let's go back, because once you realize what's happening here, it becomes clear.
Mm-hmm.
The folks that commissioned the Flexner Report. First of all, Flexner was not a medical professional, knew nothing about medicine. They say Flexner was from Germany, and he was a part of that whole thing that was going on over there at the time around 2010. Mm-hmm. And then you've got two people who are into oil and finance and banking. They know they're not into medicine. They're not even into healthcare. I don't even know if they cared about their own health. If you look at the pictures of these guys, you're like, oh my God, what the heck happened? Where they came in and forced the hand of the whole medical system to move towards drugs, pharmaceuticals that they control, that they made, and forced out everybody. I mean, schools, they took away their funding unless they were pharmaceuticals first. Anything that had to do with naturopathy, natural medicine, chiropractic, herbal medicine, midwives, they basically, let's use the word definanced, took away their financing, or actually it got violent at a point where people were going to prison, people's places were being burned down, unless you went with the current model of giving people drugs, the drugs that they controlled. Now, whether your products or your services worked or not, it didn't make any difference how good they were and what your success rate was. It was about you doing what you were told to do. They took away your natural permission, and they got people to believe it at such a level. This is where this whole thing of being certified comes from, and all these things now about you got to get a certificate. You got to get a certificate. Even in natural medicine, now you need a certificate. You got to be chosen. You got to go through this whole rigorous model, and it always pushes you back to the money. When you start realizing that this system is based on the money. If you don't have great health insurance, which you're supposed to have, you got to have health insurance. What if you get sick? God forbid you just lay out there and die on the sidewalk unless you have this $700 a month, health plan. And, to get a good job, you want a good job is one that has a great health plan where you got to go see that doctor. You got to see that doctor every so many months. You have to, or you'll lose your plan. And he's always suggesting to you to take some pharmaceuticals.
Right.
Now, the question in this whole talk today is doctors' orders. Where are they coming from? So you may blame the doctors. We're not here to blame doctors. I know some really good doctors. There's some doctors that helped me at times when I was glad they was there. My Cayenne just wasn't working. I needed to go see somebody in an emergency. I've got a deep cut, or whatever. We're here to look at where the doctors are receiving their orders, why they have to push you towards pharmaceuticals. Otherwise, they'll be in trouble with big pharma. That's huge. So I just want to read just a little bit from the book here. Today, the doctor you think of as yours may have a strong incentive to take direction from the arm-twisting pharmaceutical marketing firms that suggest what's best for the drug company's profits and not the patients. This shocked me, Dawn, when you changed the screen,
Oh, sorry.
You're the co-host, though. It's good. I'm just not used to seeing it change all of a sudden. Somebody's controlling in the background. Thank you, Dawn, for going and changing the picture there. There's the view. That shocked me for a minute. From the arm-twisting profits of patients. Does your doctor inquire about the whole you, your environment, your state of mind, and your emotions? Did you know that even using the word cure could get you serious jail time even today? Does this sound gangster to you? Well, it gets even deeper. According to the American Medical Association, the third leading cause, this is deep, the third leading cause of death is MD-related illnesses and what they call medical mistakes. This is iatrogenesis, defined as adverse reactions, illness, or death caused by medical treatments. The United States Department of Health and Human Services reports that 15,000 Medicare patients die each month from this treatment. Huh? Medicare? What are you talking about? 15,000 Medicare patients die each month from treatment? What kind of treatment? So it's true that people buy medical insurance based on the fear that if they get sick, they may not be able to afford treatment and be left to die. Does this mean that a large portion of a person's earnings goes to pay dearly to have access to a system that is the third leading cause of death in the USA? Stop.
Wow. When I'm listening to you, I think of the push for the different types of insurance and the TPO and you got to pay more for this and more for that and pay for it just in case so that you can select your own doctor, otherwise you have to stay in network. There's so many dynamics in this industry that are beyond, they're not even baffling. The Flexner Report makes you understand why they exist. And the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper because they continue to create opportunities to make you stretch further to get what they want you to believe is your own choice. So when you think about that, 15,000 Medicare patients die each month from treatment, and then you think about just our senior population and the number of pharmaceutical drugs they take. And I think about, as I was talking about my mother having diabetes and being on a medicine that eventually made it necessary for her to need dialysis, and when you look at the number of dialysis centers in our communities and what it requires from our community members, and when you walk in those centers and people are going in, and dialysis is the removal of your blood, the cleaning of your blood, and the replacing of your blood into your system through a machine that you sit on for 4 hours to have this process take place, and you got to come back 3 times a week. What are they being paid for this per patient per session? And then when you were talking about the Flexner Report, and we were talking about the fact that it was intentionally, it was the intention of it was to take the American medical system and reshape it to favor patentable petroleum-based pharmaceuticals. Now, why did they want to reshape it to favor patentable petroleum-based pharmaceuticals? Because those that commissioned the report owned petroleum companies.
Now
And so
that's hardcore.
just that's hardcore, right? And so the pre-Flexner landscape in 1904, the US had 160 medical schools teaching diverse philosophies. That included homeopathy, naturopathy, botanical medicine, because natural medicines could not be patented. They offered limited potential for industrial scale profit. You can't patent natural remedies. So they had to go away. Then when John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie funded Abraham Flexner, he was just an educator with no training, to evaluate the medical schools. His 1910 report served as a tool to standardize medical education towards laboratory-based pharmaceutical focus toward the laboratory-based pharmaceutical focus model. And it forced schools that taught natural medicine to close due to lack of funding, because they lost their funding. They wasn't going to be funded by the powers that be because it taught natural medicine. The report's recommendations were adopted by state licensing boards, and it created a binary system where only schools adhering to the pharmaceutical model could operate, effectively outlawing the other practitioners. So this report drove the way medical schools functioned. It shifted the perspective. Traditional apprenticeship-based training taught physicians to view patients as individuals with unique healing capacities. The new laboratory-centered model trained doctors to view patients as collections of symptoms requiring standardized drug protocols. It changed the way they lost clinical intuition. Medical students were trained to prioritize laboratory results and pharmaceutical research over clinical experience and patient observation, making the profession more dependent on external authorities than personal judgment. They took the doctor's ability to use personal judgment. Doctors are trained and they're highly intelligent because of what they have to study. But if you strip a person of their ability to use their intuition, you create robots.
Say that again. Say that right there again. That's a bar. If you
Butterfly kisses, I'm going to need you to follow what I say and type it in when Dr. B asks that, because sometimes it's coming through me as an intuitive. It comes through me and I don't always remember what I say because it's coming through me. But what they did was they stripped their ability to use their intuition and turned them virtually into robots. They removed their ability to think and feel about what they were working with, the fact that they were working with people and not just, they took away patient observation and clinical and they wanted them to follow laboratory results and pharmaceutical research over clinical experience and patient observation. So they're looking at symptoms and saying, according to this symptom on page whatever, we should be doing this with these because of the laboratory research. It's
Gangster.
Dr.
It's
D.
gangster. So let's just get this clear, because that's why this is chapter 9. The numbers of the chapters in this book, the reason why they're in the place they are is because the book is doing a balancing between the two hemispheres of the brain. It creates a whole brain state. So this is chapter 9, which is completion. 9 is like, that's all the numbers are in 9. Okay, so 9 is really powerful because it represents all the numbers, and it's technically not a number, because no matter what you multiply into 9, it shows you what you multiplied into it. So 9 is letting you know that you're about to go into a new world. 9 says, I've completed. This is the complete right here at this chapter, where we break down not only why we look at illness and medicine and doctors and hospitals the way we do, but also we look at the way the medical system, the educational system around the same time was being shifted too, because the educational system was also about certification. It was all about grading. It was all about you staying up with the rest of the class and just memorizing things that may not be something you feel. You couldn't use your own intuition about how you feel about life. You had to follow along with a program. People were being programmed to believe, to walk, and to live a certain way. And if you got outside of that, you were a weirdo. So imagine that before 1910, you had healing houses. What is a healing house? This is a place where you'd go, and there'd be people there who, some of them had been doing this throughout, their lineage. And there might be people who do what you might call manipulation, which is now chiropractic. There might be people who have herbs. You could choose in here everything. There was a bit of everything. Now, you might need an operation and you might need a pharmaceutical medicine, but you have choices. We're not saying that pharmacology is bad, because there's some things that they have that can save your life. We're not saying the medical system is terrible, because there's some things that they can do in an emergency. That's amazing. What we're saying is we're going to need to start to bring totally back to the forefront, and it's happening, all the different choices that you can make as a person to help your body be more whole. It's about holistic medicine, because I went to visit some people recently. I've been in a couple hospitals, and it's time to eat. And I don't know what happens. It's always attuned where I walk in when they're walking in with the food. So I'm there to see the person who's going through a certain illness, and I look at what they're about to serve the person. They're going to give the person the food that caused them to be there. They're serving them the poison, the toxins, and the anti-nutrients that got the person there a lot of times. This is what you're serving them. The sheets, what are they made out of? Polyester, maybe a little cotton nowadays, but polyester is easier to clean. It's quicker. When it used to be basically what? Linen. Why do they have linen sheets in the hospitals? Because linen gives your body life. Electricity. It pulls electricity out of the air. So this is why folks didn't have like the bed sores and things they have today. You lay there on that polyester and it sucks the life and pulls tissue and flesh off of your body. Sometimes they're giving you medicines you don't even need.
Wow.
That's not even for you. I remember my father, he was getting sicker and sicker every Sunday, because I'd call my mother and father every Sunday. They would, offer wisdom and knowledge, and I would just get so much life force from talking to them. And, sometimes I missed them, but I know I can talk to them through the etheric realm. But talking to them on Sunday was always be something deep that they'd say or I'd learn. And, your parents teach you how to live and how not to live. Well, my father was getting weaker and weaker. He had less and less to say. And I asked my mother, what's going on? Well, he's on this new experimental medicine. It's supposed to help this blah, 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 blah. I looked it up. The first thing it said was this medicine is not for Negro men. And it stated it. Warning, do not give this. They didn't call him Negro. So you know they knew this way back in the 60s when you were just a Negro. You only grew to your consciousness to the level of the knees, you know. So
Right.
I said, Mom, we got to take him off this immediately. They said he could die. She took him off it and gave the doctor a few choice words. My father started coming back. By the next week, he was a different person. So think about the side effects of these pharmaceutical drugs, which now, check out the gangster move. You've taken this drug, which is supposed to help this thing, this issue, this challenge you have. But now it has side effects, which are B side effects, which are actually the effects. We call it side effects to try to lessen it. It's actually the effects. And then the next thing is you need other drugs to help you with the symptoms that are caused by the original drug. And those symptoms need another drug. And now for one issue, right, you're taking 15 drugs. Oh, this is gangster right here, because now who do you got to go to get these anti-drugs, these anti-nutrients, these things that just cover up symptoms and never get to the root? When you went to a healing house, you were getting down to the root. You were getting to something that could help you. They're looking at you. You have a person there who has intuition, medical intuition, and they can feel you, and they have questions about your life and how you're feeling and what you're dealing with, what you're wearing, what you're drinking, what you're eating. What is this nutritional thing that they're giving the people at the hospital? What was the nutritional chart they gave my father that had meat at the top of the food pyramid? Where did that come from? The same people, animal flesh. And that chart was made basically based on keeping mice alive in the lab. And that was around the time when they started using mice to test things on, because they figured a mouse was kind of like you.
You know, Dr. B, we have some amazing comments going on in the chart. And one of the comments was people are robots and they've been programmed to, let me go back to it. They've been programmed, where is that comment? It was basically talking about the Wizard of Oz. The doctors are the god and it's the Wizard of Oz, and that whole theory of just following everything that the doctors say. My mother was in the hospital, and I mean, my mother has an amazing testimony. She defies all odds. I just tell my children that my mom is having conversations with God that we're not privy to. So leave her alone, let her do what she wants. She does whatever she wants, and we're grateful. And she's here doing whatever she wants. But there were times when she was in the hospital that I just threw all caution to the wind. I said, don't give her any more of that. I brought in my tuning forks. She allowed me to do Reiki. We were playing binaural beats because everything they were doing was making her worse. And so I stayed by her side. I used my tuning forks. I didn't have my medicine drum yet, but boy, they better look out now. Feeling the whole floor. But I did use my sound bowls and my tuning forks and Reiki and all of the things that I knew using my healing hands. I turned that room into a healing house and brought in all the mediums that I knew, and she was ready for it because she was in so much pain because her kidneys were shutting down. And I said, I've had enough. We're going to change what we're doing here. But we have to empower ourselves. We walk into these institutions and we just fall into being robots and doing what the Wizard of Oz, these doctors say. And I just wouldn't do it. This is my mother and I'm in charge right now. So you guys come back later. We're like, look, Miss Osborne, she needs me. And we'll talk to you guys later. I'm going to close this door and put the do not disturb sign on like they do at when you're in a hotel, you put the do not disturb sign. So I'm putting my do not disturb sign in here and you guys come back later. You have to take control. I had to shift the energy in the room and allow her to shift her vibration so that real healing could take place. And we prayed and we implemented the things that we knew worked. And I turned that room into a healing house. And she and I connected, and we connected with our ancestors. And she was able to walk out of there a week and a half later, because we just said no, enough is enough.
You know, in the book, I talk about my grandmother, how she told me don't leave home without a prayer. This is the same grandmother who's her sister, who's Aunt B, by the way. My Aunt B, where part of my name comes from her, or my concept comes from her. She was in the hospital, and they were saying she was on the way out to come bring the whole family together because this was going to be her last moments on earth. So we got there, and we were all around her. My grandmother said, make a circle. Everybody hold hands. Everybody hold hands. Now, this is her sister. She called her sister, right? And she says, we're going to hold hands, and we're going to help sister's life force. And she started doing this prayer. And the prayer was not begging. It was thanking the Most High for waking up sister. And she went into this mode, and she was shaking, and she was moving, and everybody started crying, and there was this energy hit the room. I'll never forget this. Now, they said that my aunt was not going to wake up. My aunt woke up during this prayer meditation. This was some hoodoo. The doctor said it. What kind of hoodoo is going on in here? Well, who did it? Grandma did it. God did it. One of my first gods was grandma. So she woke up, and not only did she get better, she lived a couple more years. They were saying she was near death, but the modern medical system, based on pharmaceuticals, based on drugs, based on all those tests and all those studies that they do, says this is impossible. What is possible? We have created this whole domain we live in. It's not what you think it is. We're creating it. And what we're here to say is, and I want to say for the folks that just came in, we're not here to bash your doctor. Your doctor is doing the best. Well, most of them are doing the best based on what they know. They're not studying, even in the lab, they're not studying black folks. Well, they didn't start studying black folks until Henrietta Lacks. But basically, most of the modern medical system was based on a 53 or 54-year-old dead white man in Europe. That's where they did most of their testing, not even on a Caucasian woman. So think about the black women, think about black people, indigenous people, people from all over the world. Their genetics are different. We don't have the same blood. Even though you might have blood type A, your blood type A is not the same based on, it's different based on where you come from, based on your culture. That's why I'm not into the blood type diet. Eat for your blood type. Well, you know what most of it is Eurocentric foods. They don't mention a whole lot of things from the Caribbean, and it's still based on the same system to get you to believe that white is right.
Right.
So we're here to say that we have to start looking at everything and be more aware and give yourself permission to try some other things, because now natural health is becoming mainstream. Even in the hood grocery store the other day, you know what I'm saying? They had a little vitamin section, and they had a couple products that are considered organic. Right. We have to make that choice. So we could keep blaming what they did, but what are we doing? And what are we going along with? And you can't, beat down your relatives that are taking drugs and all that and tell them don't take it. We got to be very careful, because some of those medicines, if they just take you off it, that could take you out.
Right.
But natural medicines, and looking at, and you know what's really deep, Dawn? Do you know before 1910, before the Flexner Report, parasites were always the main culprit for most diseases? It was parasites, toxins, parasites, toxins, and what they call yeast in the body. They used to look at this. In fact, I have a book here. Where's my book? Anyway, I have a book that was given to me by a nurse. It's a very old book. And she talked about how this used to be one of the main things they'd look at and find natural ways to remove parasites from the body. And around this same time, they got rid of everything natural, and they didn't get rid of it. They just made it where we had to hide it. Doctors, natural doctors and drugless doctors and naturopaths and herbalists had to hide. They actually went after people. They killed people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a deep thing to understand that our mind automatically says when we get sick, oh, I got to go see a doctor.
Right.
I got to go see the doctor. I got to go see what the doctor says. I went to the doctor and the doctor told me what I had. They didn't know what it was. But we're going to give you some Prozac. Well, not Prozac. No, it was prednisone. We're going to give you
some
prednisone.
steroids. Nice little steroids.
We don't know what you have, doc. I just want to go see what they say because I had some little bumps, And he says, "Oh, we don't know what that is." He looked at it. Oh, well, we don't know what that is. But we're going to give you some prednisone. We're going to give you some prednisone cream, and then come back next week and we'll give you some prednisone shots. Look up prednisone. Where did he get these names? Prednisone. This thing's going to have you twisted up like a pretzel and you'll be zoned out. Prednisone.
Wow.
Pretzel zone. Let's change the name. So they'll give you something based on being forced by the training that they have, that this is the only thing. We got to give you something.
We got to give you the strongest thing that's going to twist you up like a pretzel, right? And so when you talk about candida and the yeast overgrowth, and you talk about just inflammation, those two, between yeast overgrowth and inflammation, if you deal with those. And so we talk about parasites. And on page 57 of the book, it talks about the physical symptoms. The body is the first battlefield, right? The body is the first battlefield. And so let's just talk about the digestive and nutritional symptoms that parasites cause. Constant hunger or no appetite, weight changes, bloating, gas, cramps, constipation, diarrhea, anal itching, teeth grinding, drooling in your sleep, sugar cravings, food sensitivities, bad breath, or a coated tongue. That's just digestive and nutritional, right? So then we talk about musculoskeletal, aches, weakness, joint pain, stiffness, twitching, crawling sensations, chronic soreness, immune and inflammatory, frequent colds, allergies, rashes, eczema, swollen lymph nodes, low-grade fever, autoimmune flares, neurological and sensory symptoms, headaches, brain fog, dizziness, light sensitivity, tingling, restless legs, poor coordination, endocrine and reproductive symptoms, hormone imbalances, PMS, infertility, low libido, sexual dysfunction, prostate or vaginal infections, circulatory and organ symptoms that are caused by parasites, anemia, puffy eyes, irregular heartbeat, blood sugar swings, liver tenderness, sleep and fatigue, waking up 2 to 3 a.m., night sweats, chronic exhaustion, low morning energy, skin and external, itchy scalp or ears, rashes, acne, brittle hair and nails, premature aging, body odor. These are just some of the symptoms that parasites cause. Mental, emotional symptoms, the mind as a mirror of the gut. Cognitive, right? So brain fog, forgetfulness, poor focus, confusion, mental fatigue. Now they're sending you to a psychiatrist. They're having you take psychotropic drugs that change your whole everything. And we just need a parasite cleanse. We need to rid our body parasites. Mood and personality, irritability, depression, anxiety, mood swings, hopelessness, emotional hypersensitivity. I just tell you, oh my goodness, behavioral patterns, addictions, compulsive habits, procrastination, the victim mindset, self-sabotage. Parasites are causing all of this. Social and relational, isolation. Okay. All right, I'm gonna finish this. Distrust, codependency, energetic drain after socializing. When you talk about social and relational, and you talk about isolation, and you talk about the parasites that cause that, and you talk about COVID, which everyone suffered from isolation. We had all this fear. Then they were giving us these vaccines that further. Oh, okay, Dr. B. Do I need to continue on, or are you going to
Better be
chime in
careful
here?
with that one. They'll shut us
I'm just
down on
saying.
that.
As I'm reading this, everything is flashing. I'm having all these flashes, right? And so my bar was give yourself permission to turn on the manifestation switch and live in a place of positivity and permission. You are what you say. Thank you for posting that. As I read these symptoms that parasites cause, it I'm just thinking about my cleanse. And I love my cleanse so much. I always have a tray, and I always have it where I have my cleanse displayed so that while I'm taking it, it sits near me. It sits there, and I'm able to just have it displayed in a beautiful way. Because the beauty of the cleanse is that you feel good and it makes you want to do more. I have my X factor here too because um, you just feel so much better when you're doing it. And now that I'm reading all these symptoms, I'm just even more inspired to have my cleanse, to do my cleanse. It's a lifestyle, and I saw one of the sisters post that 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 eating well, being well, doing well, having wellness. How about that? Being well, doing well, and having wellness as your lifestyle. It's a commitment, and I'm committed to it. As I say, I started my cleanse. I treat my cleanse how it treats my body. And so it's in a beautiful place because it puts my body in beautiful place. And so I thought I would just share that with you because I'm very excited about doing it. The other thing I do with my cleanse is there's so much energy that Dr. B puts into these herbs as he's making it. So as I spoke about the energy that I put into my mom, and they didn't understand that I stayed in the hospital. She was in the hospital, I don't know, 20 days. I was in the hospital 18 of those 20 days. And every time they brought something in, I wanted to touch it. And they didn't understand. I said, "Can I see that?" And I would act like I was reading it and I would charge it. And I would pray in that second that I was holding it. So whatever they thought they were doing, I was infusing energy into everything, every syringe, every time I changed her sheets, everything that happened in that room with my mother, I put my hands on. I put prayer into. I was intentional with that. We're doing this, and this is where you say she has to be. We're going to do it with a little bit of dawn magic.
I'd like to say thank you for taking care of your mom and all of us out there who are attempting to take care of our loved ones. But I'd like to address something. And I notice it's happening in the chat. People are putting in the chat what they have been taught.
Mm-hmm.
Gets rid of parasites. Gotta go here for a minute because this is the next level here. So let me see where folks have mentioned. I won't say any names. Paw d'Arco. We have been told that Paw d'Arco helps to get rid of parasites. What Paw d'Arco does is it boosts your iron levels so that your body can recognize things that are out of balance. It doesn't necessarily kill parasites alone. Most of the research that we have, and I talk about this in the book too, from these herbal books, is not accurate. The people who are controlling the pharmaceutical industry also have been controlling what you put out about herbs. So they won't be as effective. Oregano oil, olive leaf, they're all effective for one group of parasites. The ones that live in the colon. cloves, wormwood, thyme, green black walnut hulls. Please listen to what. Wow, this is. I get it. I get. See, a lot of this is like mainstream now. Everybody's talking about what kills your parasites. You cannot. First of all, how many parasites are there? Do you know there are over 2,000 parasites, 2,000 types or species of parasites that could be affecting you that have crossed from animals into humans? Those are zoonotic parasites that cross from animals into humans. We've been made to believe that the word parasites is all of them. There's maybe 12 types that are living possibly in the colon and the digestive tract, maybe. And some of these herbs can only deal with certain types of parasites. In the research that I have and what I learned when I went through my experience in the Bermuda Triangle, which I talk about in the book too, is that some of these herbs that you're mentioning actually feeds the superbugs. Do you know parasites take herbs? They like herbs too. They're parasites. They live beside you. Para means life besides. They mimic you. They know what you're about to do. So when you're about to take your oregano oil, which is really good for microbacteria, oregano oil is very good, and it has to be oreganum vulgare. It has to be that type of oregano. That's the one that was tested for microbacteria, which can be considered a type of parasite. But we have to be careful because there's not one thing that kills all the parasites, and you can't kill them all. There are substances and metals or minerals that must be used for certain groups of parasites. Certain parasites only are going to go into a quiescent state. You need to know what a quiescent state, which is a quiet state or a type of hibernation, when certain things are in your system. They're going to protect themselves. Most of the parasites have biofilm. A biofilm is a protective coating that the parasites make. This is like a plastic coat. And not only is it a plastic coating, they're now using the microplastics that you're eating. So you can take these parasite cleansers all day. The parasites just create a domain, a cyst, or a microfilm coating that protects them from the stuff that you have traditionally used for parasites. And many of the parasites over time have mutated. You've been using this stuff since thousands of years, right? They know. They're very intelligent. So we want a simple, quick, easy fix. That's what we want. We want the shortcut. Sometimes you got to take the long cut. The long cut is going to teach your body how to heal itself. So why do we have a product or products that have hundreds of not only herbs, flower essences, essential oils? We're using electromagnetic energy. We're using sound frequencies. We're using crystal waters. Why are we using all this? Dr. B, we could make this simple. What you're doing by using a simple formulation is you're training the parasites. You're feeding them. The systemic parasites are totally different than the colon or the digestive or the enteric parasites. Once you understand the difference between a systemic parasite and an enteric means digestive tract, it changes everything. Some of these parasites are superbugs that were made for war. They were created by man. They have defense systems that are so extraordinary. And they're always changing and mutating. So if you're using the same stuff over and over for years and years and years, guess what? The parasites have figured it out. This is why Dr. B changes the formulation. Every time the seasons change, there's a different group. There's a different energy happening in each season, different parasites. All parasites are not killed by the simple formulations that you're mentioning. We got to be very careful. You see? So this is something that we need to look at too, that the people who run big pharma are also playing with your mind about what kills parasites, because they know this is popular. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to say it on the air, but there are certain herbs that you're using for parasites right now that are making the weak ones weak. but making the superbugs stronger. It's a deep study. This is not some simple science. I'm just going to take olive leaf. Olive leaf, where's your olive leaf even from? Do you know it? The only olive leaf that's even effective, right, is going to be the olive leaf from North Africa. If it's not from North Africa, that olive leaf doesn't have enough of the phytochemicals to really do what you think it does. It's just not olive leaf. Which olive leaf? From where? When did it grow? Who processed it? What did it go through? Who drove the truck that it was in? How did it travel? All these things are very important. I know, Dawn, I'm getting a little wild and upset, But
Well, the thing is this, Dr. B, if we just go back to the conversation we had last week where you spoke about cleavers and how in the spring, as we were talking about the spring equinox, in this cleanse that is being that we have now for the spring, cleavers are in it to help, and you explained it. And so the cleanse changes by season. And I was asked in the chat if I cleanse monthly. And generally, I do not. I cleanse quarterly. I cleanse seasonally because the herbs change in the season. Dr. B, the way that the cleanse is curated, I'll use that word. The way that the cleanse is curated is based on how it changes. There's also a lot of intuition and guidance that Dr. B gets as he's creating the cleanse. And it adjusts, it changes. If you did a cleanse 10 years ago, the cleanse that I presented to you today is totally different than that cleanse from 10 years ago. It has to be, because the parasites are different. The parasites mutate. And as seasonally they change. Animals hibernate and they eat different things in the winter than they do in the spring. If you just look at the animal kingdom and the wisdom that they use, humans are the most intelligent and the least intelligent all at the same time. Animals don't change what they do. In nature's intelligence, they do what they're supposed to do. You're not going to see, I'm not even going to go into that. Birds will mate and do what they do, and they do it the same way all of the time. Humans who believe they can create everything and they are made in the likeness of God believe they have this. They mess things up because they overthink and outthink and create things that they shouldn't be creating. I think that one thing that you have to understand is that this cleanse, the total body cleanse, as you looked at all the symptoms, and so many people said, I have all of those symptoms, I have so many of those symptoms, is designed to deal with and to kill the parasites in all the forms. As I was reading from page 57, 58, and 59 of the book and talking about all of the symptoms that parasites cause, the total body program is designed to deal with all of those parasites. The combination of the herbs, and the protocols, and the length of time. And I always tell people, I do the cleanse quarterly. I do it, and it does what it does. But if my body is feeling a certain way, if more of these symptoms are presenting themselves, then I do it for 3 consecutive cycles. Because you didn't get sick in 28 days, and so you're not going to be completely cured in 28 days. For chronic illness, Dr. B would always tell you to do the cleanse for 3 consecutive cycles. It changed my life the first time that I did the cleanse for 3 consecutive cycles. You will feel amazing after 1 cycle. It'll be life-changing after 3.
I'd like to.
If you want to tie it together, I'm sorry, Dr. B, I just had to say, as I have done the cleanse for, oh my goodness, I don't even remember what the first time I did the cleanse. But the first time I did the cleanse, we were making capsules, and we were giving some herbs and put it in our capsules ourselves as Dr. B was developing this. I've known him so long, but The cleanse, the book, and the medicine music, as I was just speaking about playing tuning forks and doing things with my mother. The medicine music with the drum, the medicine music that is comes with the book, and the book with the cleanse changes everything. And I'll be able to tell you how the three of them work together because this is the first time I'm doing the cleanse and having my book. So reading the book, doing the cleanse, and listening to the medicine music is the protocol that I'm using right now. So you have all these medical protocols. This is my protocol, the total body cleanse, what's eating you, and the medicine music is the protocol that I'm following now. And I can speak to you from my past experience with the cleanse. And as I'm doing this, I will speak to you completely of my experience with the cleanse and the book and the medicine music.
Okay. I'd like to go back. What was the last symptoms of parasites that we didn't cover? Is that this next section is really important. Did we
Okay.
do behavioral patterns?
I started behavioral patterns I had to put the book down when I started behavioral
Okay.
patterns. Addictions, compulsive habits, procrastination, the victim mindset, and self-sabotage. Then I went into the social symptoms and relational symptoms of isolation, distrust, codependency, energetic drain after socializing. The nervous system stress symptoms, overreacting to small triggers, feeling wired but tired, random fear or dread, and low motivation. Shall I continue?
Oh yeah, let's keep going. This is the deepest part right here. Go ahead.
Spiritual and energetic symptoms, the soul under siege. Energetic signs, heaviness or fog, loss of inspiration, inner criticism, feeling drained after certain people or places, resistance to healing, guilt or shame loops, chaotic dreams, nightmares, sleep paralysis, cold or tingling sensations, dimming aura, attraction to toxic people, repeating karmic loops, feeling fed up by negativity, higher dimensional effects, blocked intuition, creative stagnation, psychic interference, difficulty manifesting goals, attraction to parasitic symptoms, energetic, social, spiritual, and personality defects. The unifying thread, the body, mind, and spirit form one sacred ecosystem. When any part becomes toxic or unbalanced, parasitic energy moves in physically, mentally, or spiritually. Parasites don't only infect, they reflect, mirroring the places in us that need healing, self respect, and light. When awareness shines in, darkness dissolves. Through detoxification, right thought, aligned emotion, clean food, and elevated frequency, parasites lose their power. Healing is not just removal, it's the reclamation of your life force. Your thoughts, your words, and actions are the ultimate warriors against parasites.
All right. I'd like you to listen, and I'm going to say a couple things that might agitate a few of our people who are in the natural health business. There are some things that I know about parasites and how powerful they are that I have to be careful how I speak about it. Did you know that the formulas almost everybody is using for parasites was created by the parasites? You heard me. There is a species of beings that don't live on the earth. who are controlling a lot of what we think and feel. And they are parasitic. Some of the parasites that we are being affected by are not the bugs in your colon. When I say systemic means the ones throughout the body, the ones in your auric field. Did you know there's parasites that live in your auric field? There's parasites that live in your house, in your environment where you are the most. There's parasites that actually draw the energy of fear and anger and all the discord that we have on the planet. They draw it into these devices and use it as food. So when I'm talking about parasites, I'm not talking about these simple little bugs. We're talking about, this is a massive situation. So when we created this cleanse, when this came to me, I realized that we can't just deal with the intestinal enteric parasites. We got to go to the ones that are living throughout the system, especially toxoplasma. You tell me how those herbs that you're using are going to get to toxoplasma, because there's a blood-brain barrier that keeps these herbs and these substances from affecting the brain, which is very sensitive. We got to be very careful here. Toxoplasma's got you thinking what you're thinking, and then your ego comes along and says, I read a book on parasites, and I heard this herb kills this parasite. I'm telling you, we have to be very careful, because some of that idea has been programmed by you, and the people who created the pharmaceutical industry were being, how should I say, influenced by a group of parasites. Look at these pictures. Go look at the people who we said started the whole industry. Look at them. Go find pictures of them, and you will see that these beings they're not even regular human beings. So the whole pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry is being influenced by a group of beings that need people to be sick and sad, and people to be, diminished and broken and separated. When you're dealing with certain parasites, you had better use another product right next to it that's going to rejuvenate. When you snatch a parasite out, it leaves what they call wounds or necrot. A lot of these are started by a parasite called necrotizing fasciitis. They necrotize, they slash and slice pieces of you so that other parasites can move in. They work in teams. They're very intelligent, 2.5 billion years old or more. So what we created was a program that, number one, is 28 days. It got to be a complete life cycle. That's not a total. It's not what they call a Gregorian cycle. It's the natural life cycle, 28 days. So we've got to deal with it over 28 days. We've got to use certain things over a 28-day period. And some of it is energetic. So when I hear people, I haven't had arguments. People have come to me upset with Dr. B. All I needed to use was these herbs that cost me $15 to get rid of all my parasites. And I'm listening to them talk. I can see the parasites. You talk like a parasite. A whole lot of people in natural health are parasitic. They're speaking and acting like it. They think they got it because the ego is huge. I don't talk about this a lot because it gets up, it bothers people. Well, Dr. B, you're messing with my business. I'm not messing with, I'm being truthful. We need to be honest. In order for us to break the spell in 2026, and this is the time to break the spell. If you get the Gene Keys and go look at Gene Key 55, it's about looking at what we've got to do to switch into this next section. So what we've done in this program is we've put things that work on not just your mind, because your mind has your ego stuck in a pharmaceutical mindset. The whole thing with, I've got a degree and I went to herbal college and now they got shaman's degrees. How you going to get a degree in being a shaman? A certificate. All of that Flexner Report and all that stuff started this mindset, this ego. So my point is that I'm not saying that this cleanse that we have is the best there is. I'm saying we've looked at this from a whole nother perspective. And it's broad because we have become parasites too with the way we act. And I want to say one last thing, Dawn. Do you know that the symptoms that you read for parasites are the same symptoms for most pharmaceutical drugs?
Yes. And it goes by, when I was reading it and I was looking at the fact that it is the same symptoms by most pharmaceutical drugs. And when you look at the symptoms that continually send you into different sections of the medical industry, when you look at the fact that when we're talking about, let me go here, when we're talking about the digestive and nutritional symptoms that parasites cause, and we look at the whole medical industry and the weight loss and the GLPs and all these things that they are selling now. And then you look at the skeletal symptoms, and we look at the area in the medical industry that they're selling and prescribing now. And when you look at the mood and personality, and it talks about the depression and anxiety and mood swings and addictions and compulsive habits, all of these things have different levels of prescriptions from different kinds of doctors, whether it's a psychiatrist or a nephrologist or it's a cardiologist. And when you see heaviness and fog and loss of inspiration, and those are energetic, and then over in the emotional area, you see irritability and depression and anxiety and mood swings. These things are showing up over and over again. So you have different doctors prescribing different drugs, and they're supposed to cure different things. But some of the drugs that the nephrologists prescribe cause things that the psychiatrist then has to prescribe for. So you go from, having prescription for diabetes that ends up sending you to the psychiatrist because it's causing addictions and compulsive habits. They're intertwined, One symptom creates the need for you to take one drug that causes side effects or effects that cause you to go to another specialist to be prescribed another drug. And it goes on, and it becomes cyclical, and they feed one into the other. And it becomes a cycle of symptoms and drugs and symptoms and drugs. And you go from having one pill to 4 pills to 7 pills. And each pill causes additional effects. We won't even call them side effects anymore, that require another drug to be able to deal with that. And all it is these drugs that are created, they're petroleum-based pharmaceuticals. And where does petroleum come from? And what are you putting in your body that's feeding these parasites that create additional parasites? And you go from one doctor to another, and you take one drug that deals with one symptom that creates an effect that requires another symptom. Yes, butterfly kiss. The petroleum-based pharmaceuticals come from oil, and our bodies are not made to process, break down, or deal with this. And so it creates parasites, it creates symptoms. Symptoms require more prescriptions that create more symptoms. And the beat goes on and on. And so we're saying, don't listen. We're saying that beat is harmful to your wellness. So shift to natural products. We are an indigenous people. Our bodies respond to beats and rhythm instinctively, right? And so I just had to go there. I don't know.
Okay.
Call me Jeffrey's daughter.
Yes. So I was asked, and I'm asked this a lot with Dr. B. I've looked at a lot of your ingredients, and it's over 100 and something different things that we're using in our, elevated and total body program. But I was asked, well, how do you put music? What do you mean sound and frequency? Guess what? I figured out something that I don't think, well, actually, there were people who were using frequency and sound for healing. Royal Rife was using frequency and sound In fact, now, they have these Rife machines you can pick up, but be careful before you go purchase one because most of them are digital. And even though it's making the frequency, the original frequencies have to be analog. Because I am an analog musician, and I even record things in analog. I figured out how to create a coil, an induction coil that we can wrap around the herbal products to actually put sound and frequency, because certain parasites, certain entities only respond to sound and frequency. I haven't really done a video breaking all the way down how this program is put together. I think we got to do that at some point, Dawn. But we're dealing with light. Some parasites and some entities only deal with certain frequencies of light. They deal on a light spectrum. So when we say systemic, we're talking about a whole system. And when you mention sound and rhythm, like even as we're talking, I'm playing certain medicine music tracks. There are sounds and tones and frequencies that certain entities cannot deal with. They can't deal with. Even the whole thing of setting up, tuning the music to 440. It's the same group of people who came up with the Flexner Report, who forced everybody to go to pharmacology. They created these whole weights and standards and the standardization system that creates people who are basically clones, almost like slaves, sheep. We're not saying that pharmacology and pharmaceutical drugs don't have their place. We're saying before 1910, you could choose between all of them. It wasn't just one or nothing.
Right.
Everything has its place. I have some doctors and some of my number one returning clients are doctors and nurses. We have a lot of doctors and nurses who their patients were taking the cleanse and they found out, they looked at the blood and saw the blood change. And next thing you know, they called me. Well, I have a client X, they're taking something. Dr. B, what are you giving them? You see, so they're more concerned about their health sometimes than people because they don't want to end up like the people who they're seeing. And we just have to have love for doctors for doing their best. My message to most doctors and nurses is look into natural also. We need to balance it. Don't just force your people into taking something and telling them they got to take it for the rest of their life. Come on, you got to take a chemical for the rest of your life. There are things in nature. A lot of the chemical drugs are based on natural medicines, natural herbs. We need to get to the point where we could all come together, right? And hold hands together and say, look, where are you really good? Where are you good at? What are you good at? And work together. Otherwise, we're acting like parasites. So the question is in the book, what's eating you? What's eating you? What's eating you is the way we act and been taught to act. The way we live, the way we speak, the way we treat each other, the way we love, the way we make love, the way it's a whole parasitic system that some beings from another realm, we'll do a whole show on that. Some beings from another realm use all of this fractionated thinking right down to even natural health. Natural health, right? At some point, a lot of it, I go in some of these stores, I listen to what people are saying. I says, man, this is another level of the matrix. That herb that's in that bottle, because I can test it, I can use a pendulum or energetically test things to see how good it is. And 80% of what's in the stores is junk, even in the natural food stores. Because we think that, this does this. It doesn't do it. It has to be from a certain place at a certain time. Okay. So we would have never gotten to what happened in 2020. The whole pandemic, it wouldn't have happened if we didn't live in such fear. We were afraid. It was like those science fiction movies to ride down the freeway, and I was the only car. It's like me in a truck. That was only essential. I was essential because I had to go to the office to meet clients. But they made you believe that you had to do something, or you were, even if you didn't do what they said to do, you were afraid of it energetically. And fear. That's the biggest parasite there is. Fear.
There's a lot of questions about the X factor. And should you take the X Factor, and does it come with the cleanse and in the benefits of X Factor? Dr. B, would you spend a little time talking about X Factor?
X Factor started with the family many years ago, and in my family, folks were catching, certain, imbalances. So I created this stuff called Kill, 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 and I had a piece of, I'd make the bottles, and I'd put a piece of masking tape on it, and I draw 3 little dead bugs with X's on their eyes, and they're upside down like cartoons, right? And the children and everybody knew they were coming up with something to go get that kill, kill, kill. So when we decided to make this into a product, we said we can't call it kill, kill, kill. That's a little raw, Dr. B. I says, okay, what could we call it? Well, viruses are unknown. Do you know they've never really truly, maybe I shouldn't say that on YouTube. I'd like you to do the research on whether they've actually located a virus or they have. I learned at UCLA when I was teaching there that this whole virus thing was based on theories. And it wasn't exactly what you thought. And some of your major viruses that they tell you are causing some of your illnesses have not been located. They're based on concepts. But what it is the body is out of harmony with itself. So we created X Factor to help bring the body on a macro scale back into a place where the micro, because the macro and the micro have got to work together because you're in between them. So what it does is it helps to eliminate what they call viral activity, which is also something that can be considered or connected to cancerous activity when certain cells are spinning backwards, which are going what they call a retrograde. Cancer is the sign where they say the stars are moving the cosmos is moving backwards, retrograde. So what they're calling cancer is the backward movement. Retro means back, grade means movement. So X Factor helps to deal with retrograde things in the body, not parasites, and it doesn't come with the cleanse. It's an extra add-on.
Right.
It deals with viral or what they call retrograde type activities in the body, which we all have. It's an add-on.
It's an add-on. It is definitely an add-on. What you'll find is just like anything else, we have our favorites, like I love passion and focus together. And I've been known to make some cocktails, herbal cocktails is what we'll call them. And I think you have to know your body, and you get to know your body by being in a space and understanding what works for you. Focus is everything. It's memory and energy enhancement, mental clarity. It relieves mental fatigue. It helps you focus. It's study enhancement. It gets rid of brain fog, forgetfulness, perception, stamina, beauty, creativity. It can be taken before bed, but it may cause sleeplessness. I'm a writer. So when I'm writing grants and I'm doing the things that I need to do with creativity, I blend focus and passion. And it stimulates on such a level. But I saw you flash by Iron Essential, Dr. B, if you could go back to that, because I would like for you to spend some time talking about that. The Iron Essential with magnesium and trace minerals. It deals with anemia, energy, and whole body wellness. It's a blood tonic, but it's for tired blood rhythms. And so even making sure that I take Iron Essentials when I'm doing my focus and my passion separate from that, I always use iron. And I also always use the organic vitamin C tonic. And so there are products that we have that, and Cheryl Ladd, she was saying that it's a lifestyle, right? As a health practitioner, I'm sure, it's a lifestyle. And so as you align your frequency of sound with your what you're taking in, it really is a lifestyle. And so iron essentials is essential. Most of our bodies lack iron. A lot of our bodies lack vitamin D. And how much sun are you taking in? Are you using sun as the natural source to get the vitamin D that the doctors tell you that you're lacking? I've had doctors say all kinds of things. I believe it's important, as we talk about doctors, it's important to go to the doctor and have your blood work done so that you can know what your body's missing. There's amazing tools in the medical field that we absolutely need. You need a blood panel done to understand what's going on in your body. It's just how you respond to the information from the blood panel and what you do with that information that makes a difference. I've been told from my blood that I've had high cholesterol. I didn't run out and start taking any statins and this and that. I went and I got some cinnamon tea, some honey, and some vitamin C, and I did that every day with some lemon, and my cholesterol went down. It was balanced and back normal. And so you have to understand that Western medicine has its benefits. It's how you respond to the information from the tests that you get, and what you do to restore your body and align your body, that make a difference, right? And so it's really important. There's a spiritual, energetic, physical balance that being in touch with yourself. Well, so when we go all the way back to saying yes to yourself, flipping on your manifestation switch, if you just drop in and listen and connect with yourself, really connect with self. Prayer is a powerful tool. Manifestation happens every single day by what we speak. Manage your thoughts. And if you can't manage your thoughts because they're swirling all around, stop for just a few minutes. Drop into some medicine music and have your body align with that. Medicine music, a simple prayer, will give you the opportunity to drop into a place where your thoughts can be clear enough for you to make the right decisions, give your body what it needs, herbs and supplements, to move into a place of actual healing. It's so important to be in touch, to realign. I ground at the beach. I'm glad I live in California, so I can. My office is 7 minutes from the beach. If things get murky, I know to ground myself, whether it's earth walking, whether it's beach walking. There are these tools that will allow you to stop, pause. I ground at the beach with medicine music, and then I move into the next thing, because sometimes you just have to unplug. Dr. B.
I went to the doctor recently. I go every once in a while to get a blood test, a blood panel. And the doctor called me and said, we have a problem. We have how did she say it? She says, your blood panel is abnormal. I get a little nervous. Abnormal. Well, what's going on, doc? She says, the numbers are too perfect. We need you to come back in and get another blood panel, because there's, for your age and your race. She said this is abnormal for everything to be perfect. She said this. Come back in.
So we can find something wrong with you.
You understand what I'm saying? We need to give you something. So I go to the next doctor because I just want to check everything. They tell me that they want to give me prednisone because I've got some inflammation that is causing the test not to be correct. Basically, this is what it sounds like. Now, I'm not saying exactly what they said, but this is what it sounds like. I need prednisone, which is going to,
Right.
number one thing it's going to do is cause you an extreme weight gain. I don't need any more of that. You know what I'm saying? Teeth yellowing, tongue numbing, sexual dysfunction, which is a whole show we need to deal with. Yeah, I won't be able to function? What?
Right.
So the thing here is that we do have to be, mindful and know our own bodies. And like I said, this program is not about bashing them. It's about being mindful of yourself and knowing that there are opportunities and there's ways right now that are coming out. More and more information is coming out about how to take care of ourselves. Because if all the medical systems shut down tomorrow, what would we do? What would you do? So it's beautiful being in this place. I wrote the book so that folks could get just a little bit. I'm not really breaking the things down like I could in the book. Also, the book is kind of written in a way where it's supposed to open up your mindset. In the back of the book, we have a whole, bunch of ideas and books and movies and things you can go watch, and it helps you find out more about yourself so you could realize what's eating you, what is devouring you, what is taking your time and your energy, what's sucking you dry. Your doctor knows what your doctor knows based on your doctor's training, and that goes for your herbalist, your chiropractor, all of them. I tell folks when they come to see me, and I am doing some consultations now. I haven't been doing them for a while, but I started again recently. And you could call, Dawn, do you have how can they set up a consultation? Is there
They can set up I have an email now, and it's dawn@elevationtime.com.
Oh, it works.
It works.
Welcome to
Yes.
Elevation, Dawn.
Thank you. And the other thing is, if you are looking to order a cleanse, use the discount code Doctors 15% off your cleanse.
Until
Because
Sunday.
it's important till Sunday. But invest in you. I mean, I'm Dawn@elevationtime.com. You can send questions. You can request consultations. And you can connect with us on multiple levels through that email. You can purchase the drum, the cleanse, the book at elevationtime.com. And you can continue to find supplements to help you. And one of the listeners put, yes, living well and being well is a commitment to love your body. You deserve it. I love that. Thank you so much for saying that. That being well, doing well, and having wellness, right? That's a wonderful thing. Being well, doing well, and having wellness. That's coming from be, do, and have. I must tell you that everyone listening and all of your comments and being able to interact with you is inspiring, and it makes what we do that much easier. You are seen and you are heard, and we're listening to everything that you say, because it makes us better. Truly, it does. And you can book a consultation from the website. You can also send an email. We'll connect with you. There are a lot of things on the horizon. We've had requests for men's groups. We've had requests for women's groups. So if there's any of that you're interested in, send an email, because we are now putting those lists together. And you can book a consultation with Dr. B. You can book consultations with me. We have all of our healings available. And yes, thank you to the caregivers. We are all caregivers. There was also a comment in the chat that said we share mitochondria with our partners and our loved ones. So be aware of that. So if you're cleansing, your partner should cleanse. That's really, really important. There's so much information given in this chat that was shared that I tried to keep up with it. I will tell you that every week I learn and I grow. And so as much as we are here to share information, I always receive blessings from those that share this time with us. And we're very grateful for you.
High cholesterol.
Yes.
Did you know that your brain is made out of cholesterol? And when they came up with this number for high cholesterol, was also to reduce your cognition.
Wow.
The medicines,
the statins
that reduce cholesterol, melt your brain so you can't think. Cholesterol is essential. That's a
Wow.
whole subject itself. A lot of what they're telling you, even what they're calling high blood pressure, they've moved the guidelines. They move it to include more people because a lot of brown and tan and gold people, they like that brown, tan, and gold and black. Gold is in there too. Their blood pressure is normally higher than the European model. So they moved the goalpost. I went to the doctor, and every time I go, they said, well, Dr. B, you have very high blood pressure. We need to rush you to the hospital immediately. I said, well, you should have did that when I was 9 years old. Because I remember at 9 years old, the doctor saying I had extremely high blood pressure, that I need to be rushed to the hospital. My mother said, no. We're going to take him home and give him some water. He doesn't drink enough water. Put a little salt in it. But the idea here is that we have to know what's normal for us. I'm not saying that high blood pressure isn't a problem, because in some folks it is too high and it can cause stroke. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that us becoming fearful and rushing to take something that they told us takes away our own authority. It takes away our own, permission to really look at this and get other opinions. So get other opinions. Sometimes you need 3-4 opinions. I keep going to get the opinion that I want to hear. When I get to the doctor that has the opinion I like, which is usually a naturopath, that's the one I deal with. Music is very important. That's food. That's medicine also. Be very careful about who you're connecting with, not just who you're mating with, who you're listening to. I talk about that in the book too. There's a chapter in the book where I talk about the hitchhiker effect. You got to check that out. We'll talk about that maybe next week. And thank you for, involving yourself in taking care of yourself. And also, lastly, you must choose the person that you're going to help or work with for your health that you feel.
Right.
If you're somebody called me the other day, said, well, Dr. B, I don't feel what I want to do a consultation, but I need you to convince me. I says, no, I choose not to work with you. If you're not feeling a Dr. B or a Dawn or a whoever, or Dr. Kildare. Remember that guy? They used to have a show called Doctor. The doctor's name was Dr. Kildare. Do you remember this? This is an old school television show, Dr. Kildare. Why would you go to the dude named Dr. Kildare? Do you feel what I'm saying? Or like this. I remember back in the day, they had a guy who stole all these stocks from people, stole all this money, and his name was Madoff. Right?
He made off with their money.
He made off when the guy's name was Madoff. Why would you go to a guy named Madoff or a doctor named Kildare? You see, go and deal with the people who you feel. If you feeling Dawn can help you with a lot of stuff. Dawn's got a huge repertoire of things that she's done. She's procured millions of dollars for people in Los Angeles and in other places in the world. I have helped a lot of folks, but you got to be open and willing. Even your medical doctor, if you're feeling on the same wavelength and the same vibe, and a lot of doctors today are mentioning herbs or mentioning at least vitamins. They say it real carefully. Well, you'll take a little vitamin D. You could go out and get a little more sun. Then they go back to talking. So there's the microphone that's recording them because they got AI in the room. You know what I'm saying? AI is in the doctor's office. Don't talk about that. Don't tell that lady that all she needs is a little water. We be loving and caring with yourself. If you change your energy level, then you'll choose better. You'll choose people that match your energy, whether it's medicine people, or people who just are dealing with your mindset. Because a lot of folks are, having issues with their mindset based on the amount of fear being programmed. Somebody asked me about the war. I said, what war? They said, the war. This guy says, what war? Is a war going on?
Right.
I don't know if that's happening or not. I don't know if the news is hanging me like a noose or what. I have to stay focused on the family here, the elevation family, make sure everything is okay. The birds outside, stay in your world and do the best you can in your world. Clean up your world. Get rid of your systemic parasites, your systemic parasitic thoughts, parasitic feelings, parasitic music. They are what is running this whole thing. And it's based on your ability to break free from the farm that we've been placed in. And you can look at be a victim all your life, if that's what you like, and vote, fick the crap when it's time to vote. but vote
Right.
for love, vote for peace, vote for harmony, vote for Dawn. Dawn
Right.
for president. Let's all wake up with Dawn. That's a show. You need a show, Dawn. Wake up with Dawn Osborne.
Dawn and Dawn.
All right.
So, I mean, one thing I would say is heal thyself. That and you look at the words heal thyself. It's just healthy self. You are powerful. We are all powerful in our own right. And we just simply have to give ourselves permission to be well, to do well, and to have wellness.
to do that, we have to allow
Yes.
yourself to let go of the old paradigm.
Yes.
Allow yourself some new things. Do some new things. Allow yourself to make love out of the things that are in no way love. Allow yourself to read what's eating you. Allow yourself to share this program and subscribe. Allow yourself to go get your discount at elevationtime.com. And the discount code is Doctors15 until Sunday at midnight.
Yeah.
Once again, you've been an amazing audience. Go share. Take care of yourself and stop and think 5 times before you make a decision and breathe. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. Oh, one of the listeners put Wake Up with Dawn Osborne.
That's a great show. That's a mainstream radio show. I'd vote for that. Maybe we need to make a call, Dawn. Can I come on as a guest on your show? Wake Up with Dawn Osborne.
Be well, do well, and have wellness. Thank you all. Today's been wonderful.
And we're riding out with the music from Dr. B's Medicine Music Collective's special edition. This is the song called I Allow, featuring Azare. You can go find Azare on Instagram too. I think it's Azare something. Yeah. But yeah, she's an amazing vocalist and singer. She knows how to hit those special notes that take you to another level. So go check out Azare on IG. And Dawn Osborne, how can they find you? Do you have any? You don't really do the social thing, do you?
I don't do it, but you can reach out to me at dawn@elevationtime.com. I do have an Instagram, and it's at Dewdrops of Wisdom. That's the play on my name.
Dewdrops?
Dewdrops of Wisdom. Yeah, like the morning dew.
Wow.
Dewdrops of Wisdom is my Instagram. Yes.
That's good. And also you can find Dr. B Sirius at on IG. I am on TikTok. I don't really understand it yet. And I guess I got to get somebody young to figure it out. They say, you'll go viral. Well, I put a few things up there and only a little happened, but there is an algorithm that we're learning. If you have something to offer, then you can also let us know what you're offering, what you can do, and what you might be able to offer to a business like ours that can, help us go to the next level. So we're open. Allow yourself to be your best self.
Yes.
And we'll see you if the Most High has it in the rhythm rhyme. We'll be here next week. Allow yourself.
Yes.
This is Elevation Time live streamcast radio. Thank you.
Dawn@elevationtime.com. Dawn@elevationtime.com for questions and consultations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And this is the song,
Yes.
I Allow, featuring
I Allow.
Azare.
And to learn, to live, and to grow. I allow myself time and space. I allow. I allow myself to feel, to express myself, and to use the talents that I possess. I allow myself to make love out of the things that are not love. I allow myself to be a creative, live in the moment. I allow. I allow. I allow. I allow. I allow myself to be authentic, transparent, open, caring, and loving. I allow myself to let go, to be free, and to plant new seeds and live the best life right now. I allow the God power within me to express itself through art, through creativity. I allow myself to plant new seeds in the garden of life. I let go. I allow.